G'day there guys, uses the excuse at least he's not addicted to drugs here to justify his YouTube addiction, back at it again with another episode of r/AmiTheA. Now if you love this content, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn on the Barbie, and have a good bloody time. Posted by user, Am I the A-hole baby named? Titled, Am I the A-hole for wanting my wife to uphold her end of the deal? So, my wife and I made a deal for naming our future children. For any future girls, I get to name them, and for any future boys, she gets to name them. So, yesterday we found out that we're having twins, and that they're going to be two beautiful girls. I still want my wife to uphold her end of the deal. She says that it's unfair that she gets to carry the babies for 9 months and not have a say. Fair enough. Then I compromise that I get to name one of our babies while we both name the other. She doesn't want to do that either. I mean, if we were having twin boys, I'm sure that she would have not let me name them. I know her personality. I'm positive that she would have done that. We made a deal, and she isn't honoring it. I do realize it's pretty small, but I still want her to honor my compromise, which she isn't doing. So, am I the a-hole? This seems like one of those small arguments that can just snowball out of control. I'd say from the outside looking in, on the surface, it's just everyone sucks here in this situation, and you guys should just figure it out. I think you're both a-holes for being as staunch as you are on both of your points. I think a good middle ground would be one parent names one baby, one parent names the other. She's got just as much a say in this situation as you. Please don't let this be the hill you die on, not at the start of these babies' lives. Please. Everyone sucks here. This is such a stupid deal for parents to make. Name your kids together like normal people. Better start learning to work together. That's how good parenting works. Being a united front. What's more important to you, being right or being happy? I left and came back because I have to tell you this. One time I was driving back from the coast with my children in the back seat. We were in the middle of nowhere, no cell service, no radio. They were bickering as kids do, and I told the oldest, look, you can be right or you can be happy. Right then, the radio kicks on and says, I'd rather not, and then kicks right back off. We laughed so hard, now every time I hear the phrase I think, I'd rather not. It's clearly the ghost of someone that compromised and it didn't end well for them. Everyone sucks here. Are y'all sure you're mature enough to have children? In my opinion, it doesn't sound like they are. Anyone can have children, unfortunately. Hopefully these two grow up a bit while raising them. Everyone sucks here. Y'all are in for a bumpy ride parenting-wise if you're having this big of an issue with just names. Yeah, you guys know you're gonna have to raise them after this, right? Agreed that everyone sucks. Posted by user Grandma Rosie. Titled, Am I the a-hole for pressing charges against my son? So, my son, who's 28, was visiting us for a couple of days and was at my house alone babysitting my daughter's kid. According to my son, the other day, my 4-year-old granddaughter, which was his niece, pulled down the TV and broke it. My son told us that he took the TV to the dump as it was shattered and useless. My daughter and son-in-law, my 4-year-old granddaughter's parents, felt bad for what had happened and paid the cost of the TV that day. My husband was watching our security cameras, and our son's story doesn't hold up. We never see our granddaughter breaking the TV. All that we see is our son taking away the TV that is not shattered. We asked our son about this, and he said that the security camera must have cut out the part that shows our granddaughter breaking the TV. Eventually, I got a call from my son's girlfriend that lives with him. She said that she knew what was going on and felt guilty. She basically told us that our son had made up the story about the TV breaking and stole it and took it to their house to watch. I filed a police report, and his girlfriend let the police into their house to get us our TV back. We do plan on pressing charges against him. He stole our TV and made my daughter pay for it. That is messed up on so many levels. Am I the a-hole for pressing charges? I guess the reason that OP may be asking the question is because a lot of people just let it go, and they just punish the son on a personal level, which, you can't blame some families for because situations are different to this, but this is just cut and dry, stealing a TV and covering it up and blaming a kid on it. That's completely unacceptable, and I think, he's not going to get huge felon charges and be chucked in jail for a few years, is he? I think he deserves to have a report filed against him to stop this behavior. And maybe he'll learn his lesson and the girlfriend will leave him because he deserves that. That's disgusting. OP not the a-hole. At all. If you don't press charges, he'll think he can get away with stuff like this. Not cool. Frankly, you're not only not the a-hole, you absolutely did the right thing and should be praised for it. I'm glad his girlfriend had the integrity to come clean. If it's his first offense, he can plea down to a misdemeanor and get some community service and hopefully learn his lesson before he does something that gets him in years behind bars. Yeah, how could you be the a-hole in this situation? He's an adult and you can't punish him like a child, he needs to have adult consequences. You would think that it would be that easy to see that OP isn't, but my ex-mother-in-law was the type to think that anyone who would have their son, parent, or significant other arrested would be an a-hole, even if they absolutely deserved it. Some people have a very disturbed viewpoint on what loyalty means. It strongly depends on culture. In Latin cultures, most of the people wouldn't press charges at all, and it's the norm. You handle family issues on the inside. That's interesting. My mother-in-law is definitely not Latin, and neither are the other people I know who think this way, so I do believe it's prevalent in lots of cultures. Can I ask you, what does handling it on the inside entail? In your family, what would the parents have done in this scenario? It would most likely break into fistfights between siblings, a lot of crying, regrets, apologies, and forgiveness. I should mention, where I live, it's not rare to have children living on the house even up to 40 or for life. Family comes first, always. Not the a-hole, I usually don't agree with involving the police in family disputes, but in this case, it was warranted. He blatantly lied about and to a child, forced the hand of your daughter to pay for the replacement cost of the TV, and stole the TV. If confronted, the situation could have escalated, so filing the police report was the right thing to do. What I'm wondering is what his long game was. You would come over to his place, see your old TV and not notice? Yeah, the whole situation seems pretty weird and poorly thought through. I'm wondering if there's something more going on with the son, like he's an addict or having some mental health issues, or maybe he's just an idiot. In any case, if I were OP, I'd do some checking in on him. I agree with Froggus. It's sort of a hallmark trait of stupid people to not have that much forethought. Posted by user OKResponsibility8953, titled, Am I the a-hole for giving my kids chocolate milk? So, my kid's dad always wants to talk about the way I raise my kids, even though he's hardly ever around. He's a deadbeat and only comes around when it's convenient for him. Anyways, I've always given them chocolate milk. They drink water and juice too, but before bed and with breakfast, they like chocolate milk. So that's what we've done. Their teeth are absolutely fine, as they go to the dentist every 6 months, and they don't have any cavities at all. So why would I stop something they love if it's doing them no harm? Well, anyways, my children went to visit him for the first time in months, and they wanted milk, and he told them that he doesn't buy that stuff at his house, and they could have Kool-Aid while they were there. My daughter came home with a stomachache, and when I asked him if all they drank was Kool-Aid while they were there, he snapped at me and told me that I was spoiling the kids by giving them the most expensive drink, and that there was way more sugar in the chocolate milk than in the Kool-Aid that he gave them. I don't think it's doing them any harm at all. Am I the a-hole? Edit, the cup in the morning at breakfast is half white, half chocolate, and the one at night is only half a cup of chocolate, and they brush their teeth right after. They usually drink their milk while we watch a movie or read before bed. I just remember getting yelled at as a kid if we drank Coca-Cola or any red cordial drinks. Sugar's just really bad for your teeth, it really doesn't matter. Both of the parents in this situation are giving their kids drinks that are going to have an effect on their teeth, whether they like it or not. So if we're going to put it on that basis, both of them suck here because they're both just as bad as each other, and they're just flinging feces at each other about, oh, you're doing worse, no, you're doing worse, mine costs less, no, you, I hate you. So what I get out of my incessant rambling is that everyone sucks here, and that they should probably just cut down the sugar a lot to save the kids' teeth and gum health. Also, flossing ain't half bad either. Everyone sucks here. Allow me to channel my mother here for a moment. That is too much sugar. Seriously, both chocolate milk and Kool-Aid should both be occasional treats, not daily staples. Exactly. People think chocolate milk is healthy, but it's packed with sugar as well. A treat, not a staple. Actually, chocolate milk can be quite good for you. Yes, it has sugars in it, but most of it outside of the chocolate comes naturally from lactose, which the body breaks down into glucose and used for energy. Milk is also full of protein and vitamin D, which contribute to bone and muscle health. I tell my athletes to drink chocolate milk if they can't get a whole food source of 30 minutes after a workout. Kids are burning everything like crazy, so if they have a well-balanced diet with a little added sugar, having chocolate milk twice a day isn't going to impact their health negatively. This is if it's the only added sugar they are eating, which I'm sure isn't the case here. The juice is far worse than the chocolate milk anyway. Not the a-hole. Anyone that objects to chocolate milk and offers Kool-Aid as a better alternative is a knob. But is sugar right before bed really something you want to do? It's only half a cup and it's right before they brush their teeth. Not a big deal. Like I said, not the a-hole. P.S. I didn't even know Kool-Aid was a thing anymore. It just disappeared, didn't it? It just went away. Not the a-hole, lol. Chocolate milk is spoiling a kid? I can't. Look, Kool-Aid, even watered down, is a horrible thing for a kid to drink. Do you guys have custody orders, or are you just letting him play dad at his convenience? If no orders are in place, I would let him know that as the sole custodian and parent for your children, you will decide what's appropriate for them to have at your house. We have an order, but he skips his visits all the time. Occasionally, he decides to follow it. It's a pain, really, because I have to have them ready on Friday for him to not show. I'd take him to court to have the orders revised, honestly. Custody arrangements are for the best interest of the child, and this is not their best interest. It's debilitating for a child to wait around for a parent that never shows. My husband said the same thing about his mum. Sometimes she would show, sometimes not. He said he couldn't make plans with friends because he never knew if this was going to be the weekend she would show up. Posted by user Confucius1234, titled, Am I the a-hole for convincing my parents to make my sister finish high school? Throw away because this will be obvious on my personal. I, male 17, live with my sister, female 16, and my mum and dad. Very recently, my sister has gained about 20,000 followers or so on TikTok and has managed to gain a few sponsorships equivalent to around $500. This, of course, made all four of us extremely proud of her. However, because of this, my sister has floated with the possibility of quitting high school to focus on TikTok and social media full-time. My mum and dad both actually want her to do so because they've heard about the millions people can make. Of course, this made her extremely happy because she'd quit high school to do something she likes. But any sensible person, I think, would say this is a terrible idea. I couldn't let this happen, so I sat down with my mum and dad and showed her a bunch of statistics on how hard it is to really make a living off of social media, which thankfully changed their minds. I feel kind of bad because I may have robbed her of some happiness, but I have no clue. I think lots of people have lots of different judgments on a topic like this. Personally, I think it is a great idea to finish high school so you still have something to fall back on. Whenever anyone pursues a career in anything, it is always great to have something to fall back on. And if she doesn't have that high school degree, and she wants to get a job somewhere, or she wants to study at university, she's going to have to take a few years out of her life to go roundabout and finish all those when she could just do it now, while also focusing on TikTok if she'd like. And if TikTok falls through, at least she didn't deviate from that path and have to spend a few years catching up. That's usually what people do, and it's usually a very straightforward thing. Obviously, there's some that get immediate amazing success, just jump straight out of high school, and all of a sudden they're on a bloody Disney show or something like that. I'm looking at you, Levi Miller, you lucky bastard. You got that role as Peter Pan in 2015, and I'm so proud. I had to finish high school while you just like, I'm done, I'm out of here. Yeah, look at me, Markee, going to school with someone famous, haha. Not the a-hole. This was a very poor decision on her part to not finish high school to focus on social media. If something goes wrong with TikTok, she's out of luck. You're not a bad person for doing this because you care for her. It just got frickin' banned in my country, smiley face. Looking at you, India. Not the a-hole, 20,000 followers and $500 isn't enough to justify dropping out of school. Like, no offense, but this is really like chicken change. Also, with a lot of influencers, you might need to spend a lot of money on things, and a job is normally required for that. It's hard to find a job without a diploma, so unless the parents want to finance a lot of things, she has to finish her high school. I see you pro beer NB. Exactly. Create a YouTube account and start reading Reddit AmiTheA stories, and you'll have those followers in a few weeks. More like 2 years. Not the a-hole. Even if this social media thing works out for her, a high school education is the minimum of what you should do. Or at least get her GED. Social media fame most likely won't last forever. Even if it gets big for a while, people will move on to the next thing. She should at least get a high school education. Crap, she should go to college and take classes in social media and business management. This. People act like being a social media personality isn't a big job. She needs to finish high school, go to college, and get a marketing or business degree at least. Be able to run your own business. Use that money to improve yourself. It's only a job if it actually pays the bills. I'd be worried about not having health insurance, but I guess the sister in the story will be able to stay on her parents for a bit longer. Also, I'm now wondering if social media personalities and influencers report their earnings on their taxes. Yes, they do. They have to, or else the taxman comes at you with a big bill and possibly a jail sentence. And I'm not sure if you do need to get a marketing or business degree. I mean, for sure it does help, but I don't think it's necessary. Posted by user Internal Captain Koj, titled, "Am I the a-hole for taking away the car my brother paid half for?" I'm a 21-year-old female and my brother is 17. We'll call him B. The shared car between B and I broke down. Likely broken because someone was revving the engine too hard and too often. B admits to trying to race in it. It drove perfectly fine before COVID, where I was mostly the only driver. Then B took it out over the next 3 months, and when I tried to drive it again, I realized how messed up it was. He gets off with no consequences, there's a spare car for him to use, and he doesn't want it. I declared that I'm buying a car for myself. My parents don't believe I'll find anything worth buying. They ignore my whole searching process. B, being a teenage boy, is extremely excited at the prospect of a new car. He knows more about cars, so I enlist him to help me. We come across a good deal. B isn't allowed to buy a car, as per my parents' rule, since he's too young and has no major requirements for a car of his own. My parents believe that if they let him buy a car, then he has free range to use it, which is fair. They don't want him kicking around and causing trouble or racing. It's agreed that if this prospective car is suitable, I buy the car. However, I'm female. Guys tend to not get ripped off as much, so B contacts the seller and deals. Sets up a time to check out the car. We check out the car, and it's just about everything I'm looking for. Everything is in great condition, very good price, parents are stunned, and we finalize the deal. B swoops in and pays half. I pay the other half. Our original agreement didn't occur to me at the moment. I tell him if I move out or decide that I need the car, I'll pay him back his half, and he agrees. My credit card has a limit, so Dad uses his card to pay insurance, pulls out money from B's bank account, doesn't listen when I tell him to take money from my account. Now, since the insurance money came from B's account, he owns more than half the car. It's been 2 days, and B has already taken the car out to the local high school race spot. No proof that he's actually raced with it yet, but he keeps insisting that we add racing mods and whatnot to the car. We specifically agreed against this, and he's not even supposed to be allowed to own a car. I'm ticked. My parents want nothing to do with it. They've since ignored their no buying your own car before 20 rule, even though myself and my older brother have suffered through that. I offer to pay back the amount B has paid, plus some for contacting the seller. B yells at me to get out of his room for even considering it. Parents say I'm the a-hole for trying to take the car away from him. Older brother says I'm not, since B is the one who broke the shared car in the first place. You know what, this is just a learn from your mistakes situation here, and where you slipped up, OP, is when you let him pay half of the car during that transaction. I don't know what happened there. You kind of just put it in, and you didn't give us an explanation, and then things just got messier, and more money ended up not being yours to pay for insurance. It's a really messy situation. I'd say because of all these mistakes, everyone sucks here. And that, I think you know what you have to do to solve this situation. You're going to have to be an a-hole to take the car off your brother. He loves racing, and he can do that on his own dime when he's 18, and he can afford his own car without your parents, getting in the way of it all. Everyone sucks here, but I have so many questions. 1. Why would you let him go halfsies if you have the whole amount? 2. Why would your parents not bother about the young boy can't buy rule when he paid? 3. That rule about girls getting ripped off. You're 21. Don't fall for this BS. Women have bought cars on their own without getting ripped off and survived. Shocked Pikachu face. 1. Everyone was so excited about the new car, and I was so used to the idea that I'd have to share a car with him that I didn't question it at the time. It's obviously this dumb moment that got me into this situation. 2. He's pretty much weaseled his way out of each of the rules that my parents have set. At this point, I don't think they even realize. I told them, but they don't seem to care. 3. Well, I don't disagree with you. It was a failsafe. If my brother hadn't contacted the seller, I would have made a male friend do it for me. Because it does happen, and it happens often, especially where I live. It's like how walking around by yourself at night doesn't mean you're going to get automatically jumped, but you can choose to avoid the risk. As a woman also, women get ripped off more than they realize, but don't always know any better. I've had dealers or sellers tell me something, and then tell something separate to my brother when we go separately, who is also a mechanic. One even straight up lied to me, and when I confronted him about it, said I must have been mistaken or remembered wrong. So it's not something that happens to every woman, but it is typically very easy to immediately tell if someone doesn't know much. Everyone sucks here. Your brother sounds like a little crap, and your parents sounds like little craps too. You know he broke the first car. You know your parents won't allow him to have a car, so he'd only use this new car for the same thing he did to break it last time. So why on earth would you allow him to pay for half of the car when you knew full well you'd only have a repeat of last time? You brought this on yourself. He owns half the car, so you're the a-hole if you take it away from him without buying him out. Posted by user 4546LEGO. Titled, Am I the a-hole for refusing to pay for my homophobic dad's medical bills? Throwaway because my friends know me on Reddit. Up to you if you want to believe me, not my business. I got kicked out when I came out as gay in my senior year of high school. I had to support myself. There were days where I, 28, would barely eat. I had nowhere to go, my extended family is not from the US, we are alone here. I would never ever forget those disgusting words they said to my face on my way out. They made me suffer. I even thought of the unthinkable. These freaks didn't even bother to check up on me, not even a sliver of remorse. I managed to pull myself together, put myself through college without their help, and I now have a high-paying job as I approach my late 20s. I've never heard from them until I received a call from my mum, who begged for it from someone in my Facebook friends list. She was crying, hysterical that my father could die and they don't have enough money for treatment. I said to her, why not ask my straight homophobic brother, 32, for money? If he can't afford it, better pray for a miracle. You don't want to take any help from the devil, remember? I've never thought about them for almost a decade, and they suddenly come begging? The nerve! I was filled with rage after hanging up. Everything bad that happened to me after being made homeless, it all came rushing back. They chose their religion over me, and in doing that, they effectively killed their son. The son that loved them and begged for their love is dead, and he will never come back. I'm filled with anger even as I type this. Am I the a-hole for returning everything they've done to me? I'm gonna go with no. You're not the a-hole at all. That's disgusting that your family would just leave you to be homeless like that, and I cannot blame you for being as angry as you are and being filled with rage. I do think that you may need help letting go of that rage in time. It's not something that does just go away, it kind of just fades, but it's always going to be there. But in regards to your father, you have no obligation to pay for his surgery, for his treatment. You have no obligation to your family, and you need to just cut them off again. They managed to get into your life, just cut off that avenue. They don't deserve your money, they don't deserve anything from you at this point, and you keep doing UOP. Not the a-hole. Give the money to a homeless trans person and pay it forward. They kicked you out, they don't want anything to do with you. Way more people more deserving need that money, especially right now. Thank you, I might just do that to feel better. Simmer down from the seething anger, and help someone who was as helpless as I was. This would be a beautiful outlet for it. Bring good from their hate. Not the a-hole OP. Be proud of yourself for making it this far without their help. They don't deserve you or your money and help. They never bothered to think about you, only when it was convenient for them. Well, now you don't have to think about them either. Just continue to live your life the best way you can. Help those who are in situations like you, and support those who deserve it. Congratulations, OP. You are a better person than any of these people claim to be. Not the a-hole. People can't treat others like crap, then expect pity when things get bad. Doesn't matter who they are. Don't let this stir up bad memories and put you in a bad headspace. Yeah, but family. Ugh. Not the a-hole. If they didn't try to contact you all this time, they don't care about you. They just want your money. Side note, I'm sorry you had to deal with that. I'm glad you found a way to get past it. Just keep doing you and know you aren't alone out there. Posted by user Snoo99332, titled, Am I the a-hole for not telling my parents how to read my diary? I am 15 female and I have a diary, and to prevent my older sister from reading it, created a new alphabet to make it even harder to decode. It's not just the Latin alphabet that looks differently. I made some sounds like you, ya, sh, etc. as one letter, like they're in Cyrillic. Alphabet Russian, Bulgarian, Kazakh, etc. use in their languages. Well, my parents were snooping in my room and found my diary, and are demanding I tell them how to decode it so they can read it. They are saying that I need to share this with them, and I can't have secrets from them, and I'm under their roof. I eventually got sick of it and told them to frick off. They sent me to my room, and I'm here. They are trying to decode my diary, which I doubt they will, but frick, this sucks. Edit, I'm making this post, hopefully this can knock some sense into my parents. I'd say you're not the a-hole for keeping your secrets. A diary is a diary for obvious reasons, and I wonder why they're doing it. And also being so forward with you. Kinda toxic, not gonna lie, kinda toxic parenting there, and I would just store that diary somewhere else, somewhere that they'll never think to look, and keep it away from them. It's not their property, they don't deserve it. Not the a-hole. Parents who force their way into their teens' diaries are crappy parents, full stop. Reading your teenage kids' diaries is a violation of trust. They can basically expect you to never trust them as an adult, and to have a distant and likely crappy relationship with them. They are wrong, and there is no other side to this. My mum did crap like this, and we don't really talk anymore because the boundary violations kept happening once I moved out. Not the a-hole OP. Once you move out, remember that you can choose your own family. Yup, my mother is nosy AF. She has no concept of anyone's rights to privacy except her own. She nearly had an apoplexy when I said something about her tubal ligation. I didn't know it was a super secret thing, yet she has no problem with snooping around in my space. She would plan to visit from out of state and arrive before I got home from work so she could have the opportunity to snoop. She does not have a key to my place anymore. I am very low contact with her, and she knows next to nothing about my life. Intrusive parents are setting themselves up for no relationship with their adult children. Absolutely. Constantly barging in will get you quickly barged right out. Mine too. I went no contact with my mother for a while after a ton of relatives assured me that she'd changed. Basically, that she had quit the drugs and wasn't being abusive anymore. I invited her to my apartment to meet my boyfriend, now husband. She excused herself to go to the bathroom and was gone a long time. I went into my room and she was digging through my dresser. Clothes were all over the floor, books were open like she was trying to see if something was hidden in there, etc. I immediately kicked her out and had nothing to do with her after that. It was the most mortifying thing I have ever experienced. Not the a-hole, I can't even imagine doing this to my daughter. I want her to know that she has the option of coming to me or her father with problems, not that if she doesn't, we will invade her privacy. Posted by user RAThrow69, titled, Am I the a-hole for photoshopping my sister's tattoo out of our wedding photo? Recently, I got married, and due to obvious reasons, it was a small family wedding outside. We didn't hire a professional photographer, so I wound up taking on the bulk of photo editing. My sister, who was my maid of honor, has a tattoo on her arm of the two godparents from Fairly Odd Parents 69ing. She has many other tattoos that are more normal, but this one is super weird, and I didn't want it in my wedding photos. I had previously asked her to cover it up, but she refused to, so I photoshopped it out. I didn't Photoshop her other tattoos out because they weren't disturbing. She says this was disrespectful and uptight of me, but I think it's okay not to want that tattoo in your wedding pictures. There's a reason that things are not safe for work, buddy. Cover it up. That's not okay. Why does she think that's an okay thing to have out at a wedding? The wedding is not the place for it. I understand that, but if kids don't want to see it, if you don't want kids seeing it, it's not appropriate for official events like this. Opie, you're not the a-hole. I stand by that. I certainly would be mortified if someone was so steadfast on having that. I'd be like, do I even want you at the wedding if you're going to do this? Not going to lie. Your wedding, your rules. Not the a-hole. I was ready to call you the a-hole until I read the description of her tattoos. You're not an a-hole for not wanting a graphic depiction of cartoon sex in your wedding pictures. My exact thought process as I was reading. Title, yes, a-hole, has a tattoo on her arm of the two godparents from Fairly Odd Parents. Okay, that's a weird tattoo. Perhaps a little immature looking, but not harmful and still the a-hole for photoshopping it. 69ing. What the hell? Not the a-hole. Yep, went from, of course you're the a-hole, to not the a-hole in record time. Not the a-hole, but this is hysterical. I don't think any of us want to see Cosmo and Wanda like that. I'd just like to know the thought process that made this the answer to, you know what I'd love to have on my arm for the rest of my life? Exact same. How did this come about? Was my second thought after, what the hell? Actually, third thought. Not only how did this happen, but how has she become so emotionally attached to it that it couldn't be photoshopped out? And the fact that she wasn't willing to cover it up when asked to, there's got to be some sentimental value behind it somehow. My dead grandmother drew that for me on her deathbed. What's wrong with you people? Call me a prude, but making sexual cartoons of a children's cartoon is creepy. Alright, and I think that's where we're going to leave today's episode, guys. I really do hope you enjoyed the content today. If you guys loved watching it as much as I loved making it, I would love for you to subscribe to the channel already if you haven't. Tell me what you thought of it down in the comments below. Maybe like the video, who knows? I'd also like to take this time to thank my awesome Patreon and channel members. Without you guys, I don't know what I'd do. I'd probably be homeless on the streets of Ireland, crying, Irish dancing all over town. It would just be a mess. But no, for real, you guys are up on the screen now. Thank each and every one of you guys. And if you personally want to join the club yourself, there are links down in the description below. There's also the join button next to the subscribe button. Small monthly fee, but hey, it goes a long way to help me create more awesome content. Well, with that said, guys, I hope you do have a lovely day, night, sleep, evening, day at work, day at school, whatever you're up to. I hope you keep awesome today. You're looking amazing, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.